Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel, and welcome back Yolopark. Once again, I have the opportunity to show off one of their newest offerings, and this time it's going to be AMK Mini Wave 3, their smaller action figure line. So, as usual, if you like what you see here today, then by all means, please use the link in the description below to go get your own. Would mean a lot to me if you did. And this is a fun set because this one seems to have far more variety going for it than their usual wave assortments. So we are going to start where we usually start with these videos. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to put one of these together, and we are using the Golden Boy Bumblebee himself as an example. As you can see, we are building an IDW inspired one, which is kind of exciting because it's a take on Bumblebee that doesn't quite have any official release from Hasbro. We've gotten like similar figures, obviously, but none directly from this design. And this is a really nice take on Bumblebee. So, right out of the box, you're going to get a mini trading card that you can hold on to. Nice way of keeping track of your collection. Instructions, though they are pretty easy to figure out once you've built enough of these. And then in the silver bag, a lot of parts. There we go. So, like I said, these are pretty intuitive. Not a whole lot to really go wrong. They're done pretty well to make sure that you get them exactly the way they are supposed to go. Very intuitive design. You know, only a minimal amount of error on my part. But that makes a pretty clean little figure of Bumblebee. Very, very nice. Now, statue-wise, he's a little bit smaller because, you know, naturally, it's Bumblebee. Once we bring out, like, some of the bigger boys in this wave, I'm going to bring out a comparison figure just so you can see the size. But it's a pretty good desktop size for a Bumblebee. I love how round this design is. That's one of the things that gets me on the last iteration of IDWB. He just looks like the round friendly he's supposed to look. It's just like very eye-catching, very pleasing. Sculpt done very, very well. Face capture very nicely. You see all the paint details that are done exceptionally well. A little bit of black there to break up the forearms. The headlight or the taillights painted on. I guess the headlights are painted on too. Yeah, it's just a very, very nice figure all the way around. Like, even the backside of the door wings have been sculpted, which is really, really neat. Yeah, that's just a very, very nice bee design. I'm so happy that one of these finally exists. Articulation range, we have a ball joint here at the neck. We also have 2 in the ab section, so you have like an ab crunch as well as 360-degree rotation around there. You have ball jointed shoulders to give universal range, and then the ball joint for the armor, which means that can get out of the way if you need it to. 360 on the bicep rotation. Elbow joint is not 90 degree. You have a wrist swivel, which is quite tight on this particular design. I have jump cut because I noticed that the pelvis was backwards, so fool on me, and don't point that out. I know, you were all pointing it out as soon as I was saying minimal error. I know what I've done. Let us continue. The hips are ball jointed, so full range on those. And as we mentioned and noticed before, there's a butterfly joint to it, so it can lower down, and then you can adjust it to have even more range if you need it there. Thigh rotation, 360 degrees. Knee bend, about 90 degrees. You also have a back and forth ankle tilt, which is done on the tire, which is a really cool touch, as well as a side to side tilt as well. Very articulated little Bumblebee. That's what I love about these like little action figures they make for Transformers now. You know, once upon a time, it'd just be a static figurine or just like very minimal, like 90s level articulation. Now we got some real stuff going here where the articulation is comparable or even better to some of the mainline product. Very, very impressive figure. Now on him, he does come with 2 additional hands. They are both kind of splayed open hands like you see here. So if you just want a little bit difference, you know, that's pretty easy to do. All of them have wrists that can pop off and then just pop back on. just a simple peg and socket assembly. So that gives you a little bit of display variety when it comes to your Bumblebee posing. Very, very nice. So, one out of the way. This was really just to show you, like, it's pretty quick to build the thing. But we have an entire wave worth to look at. Fortunately, I have pre-assembled them, so we can just go ahead and move on to another mold. I did say this set had variety, so I'll go ahead and bring in the Dark of the Moon version of Optimus Prime. Obviously, it's the same design as the first two movies, so, you know, it's just like first Bay trilogy style Optimus Prime. And despite the small size, it is capturing the details exceptionally well. This is the point where I will bring in an official deluxe and point out it is actually just a little bit shorter. Yeah, like, it's actually a decent size for what you are getting. Like, you call it mini, but this is actually pretty comparable. I like the scaling on these things a lot. Now, Bayverse figures are known for chaotic details and sculpt, and that is not missed on here. All the little gears, pipes, everything you would expect to find in the Bayverse Optimus Prime design, all present. Lots of paint to convey the character and the shapes and designs. Very, very well done. On the back, even, they didn't skimp on here either. The engine's there, the doors are there. This is pretty much spot on the appearance in the movie at a very, very small desk convenient size. It's a very, very cool touch. Now, for the most part, while the articulation gets changed up a little bit from figure to figure, you're getting basically the same range across everything. So expect pretty much, you know, your run of all the exceptional articulation we saw on Bumblebee, essentially, so we don't have to go through everything. So again, he does come with a pair of extra hands, though this one has like a little bit of, there's one that has a little bit of extra function. So you have one pointing hand, and then you have this one with a notch in it. So I'm going to show you what that tab is for here in a second. I'll give you one last look at this. And then we will bring in these. So he does have his sword weapons, and very conveniently, Yolopark has decided not only can these mount from the wrist, from the back of the forearms, you can also just hold them like normal swords as well. So however you like your Optimus Prime holding his weaponry, that is what you have available to you, which is very, very cool. And that is going to extend to something else. I'm just going to, I'm going to go ahead and swap his hand just to prepare. So let me bring that left hand back in. There we go. And we're going to set Prime aside here. For a brief moment, I'm going to show you that another in the wave is the all-translucent version. It's a fun little figure. Crystal figures actually do have a really, really nice look to them. I know a lot of people who really like these. If I have a lighted display, I would, like, this would be a perfect little thing to put on it. Just like light glowing up through the entire figure would be super cool. It is relatively the same. He does have orange for the blades instead of gray if you prefer those. So swapping those would be a pretty easy thing to do. It's a very, very nice looking toy. Interesting choice for a redeco. Though they do like their crystal figures as extras too, don't they? So with Optimus, we need a Megatron, and they brought in a fan favorite. So this is Dark of the Moon Megs. So I had to go back and like reconfirm, like, yeah, like his colors in the movie really are that bright. The plastic color is actually harkening back to a lot of what his toys looked like from Dark of the Moon. That shade of plastic is not actually unfamiliar to this design, which is a cool thing. Now, he does not come with swappable hands because he has the very distinct ones. He's got the spindly gray one, and he's got the big maw over on the right side. But other than that, like, it's done pretty much exactly how you would expect. He's got the big gash going through his head. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that it's like completely unique tooling. You know, not like pre-tooled, just like a normal looking head for another version of this Megatron. Again, just like Prime, the sculpted details are incredible. He's incredibly complex in his design, but everything is accounted for. You got like bits of gunmetal poking through to remind you there is a robot inside all of this truck shell. Again, along the back, everything is accounted for. He's got his smokestacks even on the back shoulders. So what I love about getting movies that are based on the ILM designs is, you get a look at how the toy and the character model is supposed to be, rather than how it usually needs to be in order to transform properly. He does come with his shotgun, and that is an important little piece for a few reasons. So, number one, we can obviously equip it on him, but if we want to holster it, it does actually have a holster that plugs onto Megatron's back. This piece is just tabbed in, so it's easily removed. So if you would rather have him like with a clean back, you can do that too. However, the other trick here is the fact that Optimus Prime also has that tab to hold on to the gun. In fact, if you really want to do like last scene of Dark of the Moon, just, take that right arm off and there you go. There you go. He's ready to finish this trilogy. Just give me a Sentinel Prime to shoot. Very, very neat. I like that they thought to include the extra hand, specifically for gripping onto that weapon. So, let's go to G1. So we haven't seen any G1 yet, so let's bring in Ironhide. And Ironhide going for a very cartoon-accurate proportion and aesthetic. It's a really big discrepancy between, like the more hyper-detailed movie designs and the IDW inspired designs. Like it's interesting to see the mix within the same wave. A little bit of something for everyone, for most fans and most eras of Transformers. Ironhide looking really, really good here. All the details from the cartoon are accurately created. Head sculpt, good boxy shape there. I like the proportions on him. Like usually Ironhides end up being like a little bit more thick boys, and I kind of like that. But he really does just kind of have like a normal proportion aesthetic in the cartoon. So it's nice to see a figure that hits that note. Not a whole lot going on the back. But again, G1 design means that is entirely accurate. It does come with his blaster like so. And he has his full range of articulation just like everybody else. I'm not demoing everything, obviously. But, it is pretty much the same across the board. Yolopark makes sure that all of their figures pretty much share that level of articulation. No matter how they're designed or how they're built, they all pretty much have this same excessive level of just really, really well-made, really, really articulated toys. Very, very cool. And if you're going to have an Ironhide, of course, you're going to need a Ratchet to go with him. Now, Ratchet comes with no accessories outside of he comes with those same hands, and Ironhide comes with these same hands as well. So if you want to vary up his pose, you can do that. But for the most part, he is, sticking to his G1 role as a medic, so doesn't really need to wield a weapon all the time. Thank Yolopark for having the mercy to not put in the dual guns he was using from the 86 movie, which would mean this is the last time we see the Ratchet. But everything else looks pretty good. I like how solid they look all the way around. Like, everything basically from front to back looks like he just walked out of the cartoon, which is a great aesthetic to hit for a non-transforming Transformer. Ironhide and Ratchet are ones again where I really heavily push to accept a non-transforming Transformer because their designs are kind of tricky to work into an accurate transforming figure. So if you want really good representations of these guys, this is a pretty good option. And I really, really like how these two came out. And that's going to leave us with one more in the case assortment. And it is technically another Prime. Kind of. Behold, we have Orion packs. Again, more IDW based, which is kind of surprising and exciting for me, as I do love me some IDW 1.0. Orion packs looking pretty solid. He's got his more, kind of like a younger face going on, which is appropriate for this design. I always liked how you could see, just a little bit of Optimus here, obviously in form and shape, but, he's got a little grill instead of, the full belly one. It's like he hasn't worked out completely yet. But yeah, you see the tires on the hips, that's done up. The yellow on the pelvis is painted. Big, heavy details included on the legs, and again, all the way around. That is done very, very well. Yeah, and then on the back, I like this design element where the The drone from inside his trailer, his Optimus Prime, is now forming his backpack, which is an interesting little twist to it. So yeah, it's a fun figure. And again, he does come armed, which is always good to see. Very, very nice. Like, really clean representation of Orion. And if you want something just a little bit nicer, this wave assortment also offers that too, because we have metallic Orion packs holding the Matrix of Leadership. Nice bright gold, and this version comes with hands that actually works with the Matrix. So let me go ahead and take that out, because the camera is going to focus on the bright gold. And I actually want you to see like how much the metallic does for this figure. I actually really prefer the look of the metallic. It's important to note, a lot of this stuff that isn't molded in these metallic colors is heavily painted to match the aesthetic. So like the arms especially, you can tell like there's a lot of paint going into making this figure look as good as it does, which is a really, really nice touch and a nice bit of effort from Yolopark that I always appreciate. So yeah, same details. You get a little bit more paint on this figure, like the wheels being done on the sides, for instance. Yeah, just an exceptional job. I'm very, very happy with how this Orion turned out. The gunmetal just pops so well on him. It really, really does. So, in a nutshell, that's your Wave 3 of AMK Mini. Let's bring out everyone. Here's your duplicates. Here's your big boy. Here's Prime. Ratchet is just like throwing himself into the shot now. Bumblebee, you want to stand nice and center because you're the short guy. There we go. So yeah, like I said, an assortment with a ton of variety going on. Movie-wise, comic book-wise, and animation-wise. Everything is pretty much covered really, really well here. And it's the usual Yolopark, like, high-quality, good sculpt, good paint all around. Yeah, as usual with these, I am very impressed. Like, for as much as these cost, I'm kind of shocked. These tend to be very, very affordable, which is also a nice little bonus. So, thank you once again to Yolopark for letting me show off another one of your releases. Once again, if you are interested, if these look cool to you, the link is in the description of this video. I appreciate it very, very much. And that is going to do it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.